It is quite detailed. According to the material, it includes revenue from inherently forbidden things. The standard examples are alcohol or pork, interest earned from deposits or accounts in conventional banks,
Hmm.
rent received if the property is used for prohibited activities, interest from conventional financial instruments or debt-based investment funds, profits made from investing in companies that are themselves non-compliant.
Okay.
Those increases from the holding company subsidiary dealings we mentioned, if interest is involved, profits from contracts that don't meet Sharia requirements, like certain forward sales or installment sales that have penalties built in.
Wow, that's quite comprehensive. Anything else?
Yes, and this one might sound a bit strange at first glance. The sources also list profits from the purification of shares of companies compliant with Sharia standards.
Wait, profits from purifying shares are counted as prohibited revenue. How does that work?
It does seem counterintuitive, doesn't it? But yes, that phrase is explicitly included in the source materials list for calculating this 5% threshold. It kind of highlights how meticulously the standard tries to account for any potentially problematic income, even income generated during the compliance process itself.
That's incredibly detailed. It shows the level of scrutiny involved.
Okay.
So let's say a company passes rules 1, 2, and 3, and its prohibited revenue is under that 5% threshold. Does that mean an investor can just pocket everything?
Not necessarily. Even if the company passes the screening, there's still the matter of that portion of revenue that is prohibited, even if it's below 5%. And that brings us to Rule 5.
Which is?
Purification of prohibited revenue, or go fisho sisinha samish, go up here.
Purification. Okay, so this is about the investor's responsibility.
Exactly. This rule dictates what you, as the shareholder, must do with the fraction of the company's prohibited revenue that corresponds to the shares you own.
And what is the requirement?
The sources state you must dispose of it. Get rid of that portion of the company's earnings attributed to the prohibited element, calculated per share.
Who has to do this? Anyone who held the share during the year.
No, the timing is specific. According to the sources, the obligation falls on whoever owns the shares right at the end of the financial period that could be annual or quarterly, depending on reporting.
So if I sell my shares on December 30th and the period ends December 31st, I'm off the hook for that period's purification.
Based on what the sources say, yes. The obligation is tied to ownership at the period end.
Okay. How do I figure out the exact amount I need to purify?
The calculation method described is take the company's total prohibited revenue, the figure identified under Rule 4, and divide it by the total number of shares the company has issued.
That gives a per share amount.
Right. Then you multiply that per share amount by the number of shares you personally own at the end of that period. That final figure is the amount you need to dispose of.